Welcome to Three's a Tribe. I'm Adam, published author and poet and founder of the Novel Encounter. This is a podcast where I invite two fellow creatives to chat about their craft, the personal, everything and anything. I start this episode the way almost every great conversation begins, each of us breaking the ice with a question for the others. So who's first?
I could go first.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Suffian Hakim. I am an author, screenwriter, and playwright.
Cheer.
Among other things. And my question to the tribe, I guess, is what's the first thing you do when you wake up?
This is one of those trick questions where I'm supposed to say open my eyes, right?
No.
Okay.
I want to know, how you begin a day.
Ladies first.
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Lauren.
Sorry.
Okay,
sorry. She's Lauren. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Do we need to restart? You can
No,
restart.
sorry. I thought she was going to her question, but she was answering your question. I'm sorry, Lauren.
Okay.
So unprofessional.
Should I answer the question or?
No, yeah, answer this question.
I check my phone.
Oh my God.
I'm not very...
Millennial.
For me, I do morning stretches. Okay, so while she sounds young, I sound old as crap. What I do is I play classical or lo-fi music and do 15 minutes of stretching. And it's not like yoga. I mean literally stretching because like I've got a bad lower back.
Okay.
So
I just love how Adam qualified it as like, oh, Lauren sounds young.
So I check my phone, guys. Okay, Lauren, you go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Lauren. I am an author and
Best-selling author.
okay, fine. I'm a best-selling author. And I'm also a consultant to a non-governmental organization in my day job. So
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
yeah. And my question to the tribe is, are you happy with your life choices?
Oh my God, this is the most right. Oh God.
Okay.
Hey, Sufyan, you first.
All right.
Beauty before age.
Sorry. Okay. Am I happy with my life choices? Yes. I'm pretty sure there's a multiverse somewhere in the multiverse. There's a better version of me who made all the right choices all the time.
Right.
There were occasions when instead of exercising, I would sit down for the TV and eat a bag of chocolates, for example. But other than those small trivial things, I'm quite happy with where I am and where I came from.
Oh, I think me too. I know that I'm the kind of person that always triple guesses every single step I do. And then grass is always greener. Things can always be better. I'm always a worry what. But I'm trying to be better at that. So in the benefit of my own mental well-being, I would say, yes, I'm happy with what my choices have been. For now. And my turn to round this up. My question to you guys is, if you had a memoir down the road, what would you want to title it?
I was just thinking about this.
Lauren Ho, a cautionary tale of what not to do.
Why are we also self-deprecating? Oh,
I'm
three
just
writers.
No, I'm okay. To answer my own question, I guess I'm pretty happy with my life choices. So I'm hopeful that like if I ever get to the stage where I have a memoir, that I can say that Lauren Ho, she had fun. Yeah, that would be my title. She had fun.
So what's the cautionary tale in all of that then?
Don't have too much fun.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I had fun. Yeah,
Mr. Suf.
Okay.
I am having fun.
Good.
Excuse me.
Oh my God. You know what? I've spent my pre-writing career imagining what it'd be like if I were to be the ghostwriter for other people's biographies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I heard one idea when I was like 16 called Let There Be Light, God's autobiography. So
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yes.
He's definitely not self-deprecatory.
Well, that is
so
not self-deprecating.
So I want to write like, from God's POV, like
dream small.
Just a little bit smaller.
It would be a work of satire and parody. So
which you enjoy doing, which I'm going to ask you later. Yeah.
yeah, but if I were to write my own, I guess it would be, the road not taken, I guess. No, cause like one of my biggest struggles as an author is that nobody in my immediate social circle was anywhere within that within the writing / publishing. Yeah, so
Definitely same.
I'm guessing
Yeah.
the three of us had to figure it out on our own.
Yeah,
right?
3 writers. Here we go.
Yeah. 3 writers, no mentors, no role model.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Our role models are in the States, so they had their own system there. But to be a success in Singapore, Malaysia.
My role model was Jesus, Suffian. Okay? You sacrilegious.
Yeah. My son, right? My son.
my
Yeah.
God.
He's
Okay.
Oh my god.
Does anyone have a good toast? Welcome to the tribe. Oh, Sufyan's going.
okay. My toast is read like you live forever, write like you die tomorrow.
Ooh, I love that.
I love
yeah,
that.
I love
Cheers.
that.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, the podcast is officially started. So the drink that I chose
The blood
was,
sacrifice has been
oh
drank.
my god, literally, because the choice of drink I chose was Penfolds. Not because I know much about it, but I like the pun of 3 writers drinking Penfolds. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So you were telling me that Sufyan, you told me that you just flew in today.
Yeah.
Jet lag boy.
I have major jet lag brain right now, so if I say anything stupid, blame the jet lag. I just flew in from London.
Oi.
It's very cold right now. So as a tropical boy, I was suffering for the past week.
I love London though.
Yeah. It was for a work thing. I got to interview Son Heung-min, who plays for Tottenham Hotspurs.
Oh, him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely know who it is.
Yeah, me too.
Well, for the listeners who do, I mean, he was an amazing. I mean, he's an amazing human being, and a complete pleasure to interview. Yeah.
Sounds like you were suffering, a lot.
Yeah, someone had a good time.
I did. To be fair, I did. But yeah, I was freezing my ass off while I did so. But I had a good time.
In a 5-star hotel.
The Marlbone.
Lauren sounds so sour right now.
Marlbone.
Drinking from the grape.
It's one of those bucket list hotels, because it's fantastic.
So I'm actually sitting here with 2 best-selling authors, and I am trying not to let my imposter syndrome get in the way. But what you
I have that as well with the 2 of you.
No, Sufi.
Yeah, I do. No, seriously, I do.
Okay, but
Come
one thing I
on,
wanted-
Adam. You're like the one who has the most Instagram followers.
Oh
of
my
all
god, we're
of
not
us.
going there. But the question I wanted to ask you guys is actually which was the exact moment that made you go, "Hey, I'm actually a writer now"? Was there an exact moment?
No, I mean, I've been writing since I was a kid. I used
Okay.
to make up stories all the time. And I've been entering competitions, like short story writing competitions since I was a teenager. So I guess I've been writing for a really, really long time.
But did it ever hit you that this is what you want to do in the future? I know this sounds like a job interview.
Yeah. When they go from, hobby to...
Hey, I'm writing to, hey, I'm a writer.
Yeah.
The way I approach writing is that I write to make myself happy. I didn't necessarily think I want to make this a career or I should not make this a career. I just wrote whenever I wanted
Yeah,
to.
it comes by accident, right?
Yes, exactly. And I had a discussion recently with another author friend of mine, Jessie Sutanto, and she was saying like, oh, she's also really she's a real best-selling author, and she was saying like, oh, if I had gotten this level of success in my 20s, maybe I wouldn't have known how to handle this.
Right.
And as someone who was also published in their 30s, I would also say like, yeah, I'm actually happy that I'm published in my 30s because I think I'm much more mature as a person and able to sort of like face being a semi-public figure and
Use air quotes just so for the listeners too.
Yes, on the semi-public figure part, yes, I did use air quotes. Yeah. I just think I'm better equipped now than I was 10 years ago to be an author.
Okay.
Yeah. Suffian.
Well, I mean, same story here. I started writing when I was young. My first like piece of validation came when I was 14, secondary 2, and there was an interclass skit competition. Okay, so yeah, I know I was 14, and everybody was expecting the top class to win. They were headed by the son of a minister, which minister I will not name.
No shout out. Okay.
no shout out. No. So everybody expected his class to win because he was always getting top grades in English and Lit.
Yep.
And then this
Nepo baby.
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. He didn't say that.
Then came this boy from Bukit Panjang, from the HDB, from
From the hood.
from the hood.
Yeah. The mean streets.
Yeah, coming
Bukit
in.
Panjang.
Yeah, coming in, it was like Bukit Panjang versus Bukit Timah, and
Oh,
Oh my
it's a
god.
good.
yeah, and
He's a book.
right, that should be a book.
Yeah.
He wrote an incredible story, an incredible skit, but and I wasn't expecting anything because I was just really putting in jokes onto paper and making my friends perform them, and we won. So that was the first validation I had as a writer at 14. So throughout my academic career as a student, I've always had essays that perform well. I ran the competitions, that kind of thing. But then I failed my A levels. So there was a dark period in which
Lauren. Oh my god. It's so rude.
Well, he's laughing at my failures.
He's sharing his trauma.
Yeah, exactly. After going to a good school and then failing your A levels, it's a terrible.
Shame
it's a
on your
huge
parents.
paradigm shift.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
exactly. So for a long while, I didn't think I could cut it. Because that's what failure in Singapore does to you, especially if you were in the good school system,
Yeah.
right? You came from
Lauren, what the hell is wrong with you?
No one's laughing at me. Why?
Sorry.
my shame laughed at right now.
No, but yes.
Yeah.
To continue with that, very slightly. Oh my god, Lauren's trying to compose herself.
Okay.
So very slightly similarly, I was always good at English and the arts, but I was garbage at math and everything else. So I don't know how. I can't. Oh my god, Lauren.
I think Lawrence.
Okay, were you always a smart cookie?
Yes.
No, I think she's laughing at us.
Yeah,
I think she's laughing
okay.
at us.
No, I was always an A student. Sorry, guys.
God damn.
I
Yeah, I was
don't
an
want
A.
to toot my own
Cheers,
horn.
I was an A student to the point where I discovered Orchard Road and skipping
I
classes.
thought you were going to say Orchard something else. But
No, Orchard Road and skipping classes to just loiter.
Where do you
there.
hang out at?
Far East Plaza.
Oh shit, mine was Cine Leisure.
Ooh,
The Burger King, and then
Oh,
and then
yeah.
there was a bowling alley upstairs. I remember back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I used to play truant a lot too.
But still a
But
straight
still
A
get her
student.
A's, yeah.
God, what a flex. Just flexing left and right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be.
When you guys? Yeah, sorry.
So anyway, I was just
Go
saying
on,
that.
go on.
So there was a period of failure, and then then I wrote Harvey's Bin Potter, and
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you exactly that. When did you write Harvey's Bin Potter?
so in poly, so my academic career was secondary school, JC, failed my A levels, NS,
Lauren's trying not to laugh. Yes.
NS, and then poly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was towards the tail end of my time in poly, and I was sitting in a very, very, very boring media management lecture.
Oh God.
Lauren doesn't believe in boring lectures. That's why she's laughing.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just
Laughing with him, right?
I don't know, something triggered me and now I couldn't stop laughing.
So media management. I was bored out of my mind. Started writing this story, went viral, and then
Wait, what do you mean went viral? Where do you post it at?
on my blog, but it was shared on Facebook back then. Facebook was the only.
Oh no shit.
Yeah.
Wait, so how do you get published then?
So what happened was so it went viral. Like people were sharing around, people talking about it, and then one of my friends started a self-publishing platform called Publishizer.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like publish plus the German word for shit. Is that right? Shizer?
Scheiße.
Oh, Shizer. Oh, publish Shizer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And yeah, so the crowdfunding campaign was successful and we turned it into a book.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. Thank you. That was my.
I just want to say that I've read Harris Bin Porter and it's funny.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You always dabble into parody, like not just in Harris Bin Powder, but in your recent works as well.
Yeah.
Have you always been inspired by that?
Yeah. I mean, so starting in NS, when it really started hitting me that when I was expanding my worldview, the fact that that my existence, being born Malay in Singapore, defines certain aspects of life for me.
Wait, you're Malay?
No.
Suffian, what? I didn't know that, Suffian. This is news to me, Suffian. Sorry to cut in. I'm so full of shit.
This is going so well.
Yeah, it's going so well. Yeah.
I'm what? Do you watch that Dave Chappelle episode where he's a black?
Yes.
He's a white supremacist. He's a blind white supremacist.
It's so funny.
It's so good, yeah.
Who didn't know who was black? Oh my god. Where was I?
Yeah. You were saying that. Yeah, sorry, I cut in, but you were saying that because of your background, you felt.
Oh
that,
yeah. So but I didn't have the sophistication of thought or language to kind of explore it in deeper ways. So I used the only tool I had at that time, which was humor.
Yeah.
So and what I love exploring was the disconnect between how I grew up and my worldview with the Western popular culture that I love.
Yeah.
So parodies became how I explored that.
So Little Red Riding,
Little
Red Riding Tudong, and 3 Shades of Brown.
3 Shades of Brown instead of 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah. Because Malay people can't count to 50.
Oh my god!
I'm allowed to say it.
Yeah, sure.
I'm allowed. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it was just born from the fact that I didn't know any other way to kind of explore that friction, between my worldview and the Western pop culture that I love.
Oh, sick. And Lauren, for the last Tang Standing, how exactly do you go about writing it? Where do you start and what was the inspiration and everything?
So, I for whatever reason decided that I should try stand-up comedy. So I was an amateur stand-up comic for 2 years in Singapore, and I sucked so bad. But I didn't care. I was just doing it for myself because I love stand-up comedy. And I got lots of material that made no one laugh when I was on stage, but maybe it's just me, But I thought it would be really funny in a book. And so I I plotted a book around some of the themes, and I wrote Last Time Standing in 2017.
And how do you proceed to get published and everything like that?
So I finished in 2017. I took a year to finish the book, and I started pitching it in 2018, sometime in in the middle of 2018. I had some interest from some agents, but they said that the manuscript needed to be reworked a little, and I did that. And then I went back to them like a year later, and then I sold it in 2019, and it came out in 2020, which we all know was a terrible time to be published.
Fucking awful. Yeah.
But it's cool.
How do you do outreach and marketing then?
Stand-up comedy.
No. I mean in 2020.
I don't know. I guess I was luckier in a sense because it came out in June instead of like March or April or May,
okay.
even May. And I feel so bad about for my friends who came out in those 3 months because there was supply chain issues.
Yeah.
It's the pandemic. It's the pandemic. Everything was like locked down, if you still recall. And June was when they just started opening up again. And I mean, it wasn't the best time, but it was probably slightly better than like March or April and May. Anyway, so they did whatever publicity they could. I did a lot of Zoom interviews, and the book came out, and it did relatively well. It still continues to get readers.
Cheer.
Sorry?
No, sorry. I was saying cheer. Like,
oh,
yeah, sorry.
Okay.
That was embarrassing.
Can you just say yay
I said
or
cheer.
woohoo like a normal person?
Thank you. I just high-fived Suffian. We're ganging up on Adam.
Yeah. She didn't slap me. She high-fived.
No, that doesn't warrant a slap. But anyway, yeah. So it came out and it did all right, and
It did
I had
great.
a second book.
Yeah.
And I will have a third book in 2024. So
Hey.
yeah, cheers.
Are you writing something too, Suffian?
Yeah, so I'm working on the 4th novel, and the idea now is to finally step outside of Singapore.
Try 5. I'm writing one too.
Nice.
Yay,
Try 5,
all of
try
us.
5. Yes.
Try 5.
Okay, cool. All right.
Wait,
That's the first time I've ever done that. Done a try 5.
That's not a thing.
One more time. Here we go.
Adam
Hey.
is trying to make like
Okay.
whatever this is.
Try
a
5.
thing.
Try 5.
Yeah.
okay.
Just because you repeat something a few
Lauren,
times.
Try goddamn 5. No, okay. So I'm working on my next novel as well,
Nice.
and I also want to try to branch out of Singapore because, pretty much I just want to try to get like more reach and everything. How's it going for you guys though? Any like writer's block?
We never talk about writer's block, right?
What's that?
Well, you're
Writer's
afraid that if you mention
block.
it becomes real.
I'm knocking on wood right now.
Um,
I think we all have
Yeah,
writer's block from
definitely.
time to time. But something I've learned, like in terms of craft,
Yeah.
like you're supposed to just write through it. I know that seems counterintuitive because when you have a block, you can write. But what I usually do if I encounter like writer's block is I just write around what I'm supposed to write. Like maybe I'm supposed to write about like a chapter on a woman who
Spoiler.
like
Sorry.
goes into the woods and then she discovers like her boyfriend is waiting for her there with a knife, right? Let's just say.
Yeah.
And so
That's
if
where
I
you go.
can't,
That's where you went for this
and
example.
if I can't write that chapter, I might just step back and I'll write a limerick or whatever, or I'll make up a stand-up set, like a bit or something. And yeah, that's how I move on and recalibrate or just encourage my brain to sort of like get back to the subject matter at hand.
That's great advice.
Yeah. Or some people say that you should like do some other mundane activity, but let your brain just kind of run in the background
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that will encourage your brain to come up with a solution. And I think like I tell all my friends who are writing, like if you ever get stuck, like don't think about it, just keep writing and like don't try to make every sentence so perfect. I remember reading about this author who I shall not name, who said that she took 10 years to write her book and it was like she labored over every sentence. And I just thought to myself, that sounds really painful. And of course the genre matters as well. But I think you should just get the first draft out and then only then should you edit at like sentence level.
That's what I'm
instead of,
trying to
like,
do too, actually.
You can't.
Because I also read someone where they said that they'll purposefully leave spelling errors. So their mind says, this is a draft. So I can fuck up as much as I can.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
You know what? I have a friend who writes in Comic Sans.
Oh my god, the sacrilege.
But apparently
with
it does
I guess
help.
it gives him the intention of. It it tells him
This
that,
is just a draft.
Yeah,
Exactly, yeah.
exactly. You can relax. So when you write in Comic Sans, if like it's a font that tells you can relax.
right.
Oh
I don't
damn,
know.
I love that actually.
Yeah, and you just like write.
That's smart. Holy crap!
That's really
I'll
smart.
try that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you deal with
Writer's block.
writer's block?
We're all knocking on wood right now.
I'm knocked on wood.
Mine's like, I do believe that doing mundane things helps. For me, I think it's physiological as well. Sometimes,
Yeah.
like you're just in positions or situations that that causes the block. I don't know. Okay, you know what? I've
No, that makes sense.
I've been
yeah.
speaking to a few like spiritual practitioners. I have a few of those in my life,
Okay.
and they
Mhm.
always say like and they believe in yoga, right? So yoga is all about movement and the flow of energy. Sometimes
Yeah, I believe it. I believe
when you're
in that.
sitting down
Yeah.
typing,
Mm.
the energy you reach an energy block. Yeah. So I run. I will go for a run.
Oh, that's really good. I
Yeah,
know
running's
so
really
many
good. Running
or
authors who run. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, it helps. Yeah.
it does. It does.
Another author who likes running is Haruki Murakami.
What I mean when
No, Lauren hates Haruki Murakami.
No, I don't hate.
I just want to see her face.
I don't. That's exaggeration.
what's this book again? What I mean when I say I go for a run.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any favorite authers?
Not
Oh yeah,
Haruki
tons.
Yeah. The two of you.
Not-
Oh my God.
He's perfected the art of writing nothing beautifully. I feel.
Mm. No, actually, that's that's an eloquent way of explaining what he does. Because there's sometimes where he writes like 30, 40 pages of just a guy waking up, going to the bookstore, jacking off, going to sleep. No, like literally, Kafka on the Shore, like the last 50 pages was just this guy,
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Kafka on the Shore.
and then he goes in the woods and his boyfriend kills him. No, like no, like there's 50 pages of him just like waking up, going to sleep. I wouldn't say what was happening in that situation, but he was waking up, going to sleep. So I'm the minority here. I kind of like his writing simply because I like magical realism. But
Me too.
yeah, but I prefer like Kazuo Ishiguro, Jeanette Winterson, these kind of people who really dabble in magical realism. Oh, Lauren!
I think you're not convincing Lauren.
Wait, Jeanette Winterson? You don't like Jeanette Winterson?
I love Jeanette.
Yeah, okay,
Winterson.
good. There we go. Okay.
She was at the Singapore Writers Festival.
I was there.
Yeah. Yeah, you were.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So you were saying favorite authors. I have so many, but who do I like? I like
Suffian Hakim.
I'm everyone's favorite author.
Exactly, brother.
Besides me.
so many. So yeah, I can't pick. There's just so many good authors in every genre. I don't have one genre I read.
Yeah, this
I
feels
write
like
everything.
asking for your
I read
favorite
everything.
child kind of question.
Fair, yeah, that's true.
But do any come to mind immediately?
I actually really like Jonathan Franzen. So I know some people.
Suffian Hakim.
You're such a dick.
Are you trying to get into stand-up comedy? Suffian? If you are, I can refer you to some places.
Would you ever try doing stand-up comedy again, though?
For the sake of everyone else who wants to get into the scene, I would refrain.
I should speak to Sam
Sam
or
C,
something,
yeah, or,
and ask him to do a
Sharo
writer's
Chana.
night. Yeah,
Yeah. Or something.
What, writers trying to do stand-up?
writer's night for stand-up comedy. Yeah, I think that's a good idea right there.
Yeah,
God, I'll be so shit.
We all will be.
Oh my
but
God.
That's the idea.
I actually have this...
I'm not crap. I'm just.
Yeah, I'm sure you're
I'm
not.
crap on stage, but my material is not crap.
Exactly. Yeah,
That's why you're a bestseller, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you're an author. I
Yeah.
guess
I'm just terrible on stage. Like nobody believes me when I deliver
imagine
my
I would be
lines.
as well.
Hey, Sufyan, if you could try any other profession besides what you do, Lauren's clearly going to be a stand-up comedian. Opening for Dave Chappelle.
No.
What kind of profession would you try?
Satay seller.
What?
Satay seller.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
I am
That's so random.
I'm a satay connoisseur. Like I know my shit when it comes to satay.
Where's your favorite satay in Singapore?
Right now it's a stall. Can't remember the name, but it's a stall at Far East. The
Faiz Plaza?
no, sorry. East Coast Park. My bad. East Coast Park, the hawker center.
Oh, Lagoon.
Yeah, the goods.
Yeah.
There's one, I don't know the number or the name, but it's I know exactly where it is. It's facing out to the sea. It's not all the inward facing stores.
Oh, I love satay.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I personally don't know what I would try. I've always wanted to be a teacher, but I sincerely doubt I have the patience for it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted to.
But okay, so when we think of teacher, sometimes it's images of like just little kids running around.
Yeah, the romantic nature of it, right?
But there's also, lecturing or being a professor, right? Where it's a more mature audience.
Yeah, that's true.
Who you don't want to stab,
Yeah, that's true.
right? Sorry.
When I was in secondary school, we tormented our teachers. But the only class that I was really quiet in was English and Lit. So I think I always had a romantic idea of how, what? Just, you can't laugh into the mic and then turn away. But I always had a very romantic idea of how like a teacher should be. But yeah, pretty much. Do you guys remember when your first rejection was as a writer, or one of the most prominent ones? Because all of us go through it. I think that's one of the main cruxes of being a writer.
Yeah.
But do you have one that really stands out?
When I was self-published, so it was the first days of getting Harvey Spin Potter out. So I wrote a whole bunch of letters to retailers asking if they would pick up the book.
Oh, so you manually emailed Kinokuniya and everything?
Self-published means doing
hustler.
every fucking thing. Sorry, that was the first F word of today's session.
Drink.
Cheers, guys. So, as a self-published author, you have to do everything. Logistics. Meaning going out to the printers, getting a quote, asking them how long it can take, getting it printed, picking 50 boxes
It's
of
heavy.
books.
Heavy.
Yeah, each containing 20 copies. And then I don't have my own vehicle, so like I got a Grab.
A Grab?
Yeah, so like I talked to the driver about it, and it's like, it's so heavy. So like I had to take like 5 first, then the rest I left with the printers. Then I took multiple trips.
That's dedication.
That's dedication, man.
Self-published is a nightmare.
Okay, so what was the rejection story? Tell us.
So I wrote a bunch of letters to different retailers. The smaller ones tend to say yes.
Yeah.
Because they're doing things with consignment, meaning whatever they sell, their portion they keep, then the rest of the books that don't sell, they return to you.
Of course.
But the bigger bookstores don't function on consignment. So they would usually order a bulk at a time. And if you have an unproven self-published author, there's that likelihood to, for you to. So I won't name which bookstore. It is a well-known one. But
how many times did they say no? Kino?
Actually, surprisingly, Kino said yes.
Oh, sweet.
Kino said yes, but
nice.
to a very small number.
That's still awesome though.
Yeah, but I mean, and even then they say yes quite late on. I had to go through a few rejections before that. And that was painful because, so it was a crowdfunding thing, right? So I given the copies to people who supported the crowdfunding campaign. I gave a few to smaller bookstores. They would take like 5 to 10.
Yeah.
But I still have 600 books, 500, 600 books left.
Oh shit, yeah.
Sitting
so were they
there.
all just in your house?
Yeah, I created forts with box forts.
That's cute.
And my cats would jump on them. And yeah, so they were just sitting there, and I was just trying to get them, trying to get a bookstore to pick them up, but most did not. So yeah, so there was a lot of rejections from the big bookstores, and it feels like, okay, successful crowdfunding campaign. I sold a few to small bookstores, and then it feels like that's it. That's the ceiling. I reached that ceiling. So that's how it felt when I got rejected by these bigger bookstores. Yeah. But because so it was like a month or two before things started picking up. When Kino sold out theirs and asked for another one, then and the smaller bookstores started asking for more copies. Then the other bookstores started like,
Paying
accepting.
attention.
Yeah.
So that's how you slowly got your way up.
So there was even one bookstore which the email thread was me sending them, hey, can you pick up my books? Them going, no. And then them emailing me again, pertaining to the email above. We would like to
Fuck you. Yeah, exactly. That's a good feeling.
Yeah.
Wait, how long was it that you were in this bracket drought of trying to get your books out there? Because it must be a pretty harrowing experience because
it
it's
was
your soul.
about a month plus. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it feels
Oh,
like
it's okay.
Yeah, a month is okay, man.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
flex.
Looking back now, yes, it is okay.
Worst month of my
But
life.
within that month, I
Lauren
agree.
just left. I'm leaving too.
Yes, I agree that it's a relatively short period of time compared to how other authors have suffered or
But it felt-
waited for a yes. But within that month, it just felt like that's it. I'm at my ceiling. I need to rethink my life. I'm not going to make it as an author. Go back into whatever work I was doing. You know, yeah, and maybe write Hallmark cards instead of an entire novel kind of thing.
He just went to the drink. Okay, Lauren.
I mean, when I was like first going out with my manuscript to find an agent
Yeah.
and the so-called submissions process, yeah, I got a couple of rejections. I would actually only targeted like less than 10 agents my first submission.
All of them overseas.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm published primarily by an American imprint under Penguin Random House. So
Sick.
in order to be published in the US, you need a US agent most of the time. I mean, like 99.9% of the time. So I had to first find an agent before they could like sell my script. And like the biggest hurdle I thought in my head was getting an agent. And of course, like in the first round of submission, I got a couple of yeses and a couple of nos. And I actually remember the nos more than I remember the yeses.
We always do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But because I had been so bad in stand-up comedy,
Why would you keep mentioning that?
I think it just kind of helped me.
The thick
like,
skin.
yeah, I was like, okay, I have something. I have a lot of self-belief in it. Like I have a lot of self-belief in terms of like that manuscript. And I thought like, okay, fine, it's not. But I also had yeses at the same time. So like, okay, the rejection stung, but because of the stand-up comedy, heckling, and my own self-belief, I guess, it didn't sting so much.
Yeah.
So, but maybe it's also the way I approach things, right? I don't look at a rejection as a rejection of me per se. It is actually something that you can learn from. Like if people are telling you that this doesn't work for them and they give you the reasons, it behooves you to sort of listen because there's a professional telling you why it isn't working for them. And so because I approached it that way as well, I'm learning, I didn't take the rejections so badly. I just took them as like a learning experience. So for me, like the rejections aren't like so bad, I feel. Yeah, I learned from them. Sorry, I don't have anything like
No.
horrible to tell you.
I actually wanted to ask though, like following up on that, because I found that quite interesting. What kind of things do you like? How do you think you improved from these rejections, or like because you mentioned words of wisdom they gave you, right? Like, do you remember any of them in particular?
Oh yeah, they like. So with my first novel, Last Tank Standing, because at first it didn't really have like a very traditional ending. It didn't have because my book straddles like 2-3 genres. It's like women's fiction, rom-com, contemporary romance. And in like romance, you tend to have certain like genre restrictions, right? And so like originally when I pitched my book, it didn't have the ending that it has right now in the current form in the books. And like people told me that if you want to sell your books, you need to change the ending. You need to like rewrite that part of the book because the rest of it works. And so
Were you hesitant to do that?
oh no, I'm not precious with my manuscript.
Oh, you
I
were
was
okay
like,
with, okay.
oh, okay, sure. Yeah, if it helps me sell and like make money, sure.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are like very protective with their work, and they rightly so. But I view like, I mean, I was having a long-term view. I mean, maybe because I thought like, as long as I got my foot in the door, then let's worry about what happens after that. It's more important to get your foot in the door. So that was how I was approaching it. And I wasn't too precious with my manuscript. I took the feedback given to me by professionals and I improved my manuscript, so-called. I don't know. Maybe some people will say that the first draft was better. I don't know. But yeah, that's how I viewed it. So I think it's a matter of mindset. Like if you take good feedback and you incorporate it, I think that's actually a win. It's not something that should like bring you down. Because if you don't take the rejection personally, but you look at it as an opportunity, then I think that's how you will improve as a writer and also as a person.
Oh, sick. What advice would you give to people who are actually looking to get agents though? Because Sufia and I are both local, right? In terms of where we publish that and everything. If someone's looking for, and I know you did a talk about this, but you mind sharing a little bit?
Oh, I don't mind.
AKA for the two of us.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. This is vital information for me as well.
Yeah, me too. Cheers.
Cheers first.
To agents.
So how I got an agent. I did a lot of research online. I read like all the how to get an agent like blogs and articles and all that. And I basically followed the steps of whatever I learned online. I did the cold like email with my submissions package. I approached it pretty like methodically, you know, like I said, like, oh, they gave advice and tips like, oh, you need to make sure you write to the right agents and you have to make sure that fits the genres that they represent. All these are very good general tips, but you know, from time and time again, like on Twitter, we see all these agents that say, oh, you know, I got this in my slush pile. It's like this guy saying, this is the best thing you will ever read. You have to represent me. And I kind of feel like there's always people like that and they just don't have that self-awareness. So I think it's really important to do the research and then have that self-awareness as to whether you actually have the writing chops as well. And of course, I have to say that like some of it is also, there's an element of luck. So of course, there are lots and lots, many skilled people out there who are all good writers. But whether or not you get an agent and whether or not you get published, there is, of course, an element of luck involved, I think.
What goes into a submission package?
So, like to your agent, potential agents, like it depends. It varies from agent to agent, agency to agency.
Yeah.
You need to have like a email and a cover letter, basically a cover email. And then like depending on the requirements, maybe like the first 3 chapters or the first 50 pages. It really depends on the agent. And that's the basic submissions package.
That's interesting because I always thought that it was the full manuscript. It's just the first 50 pages?
It really depends on the agent. So like different agents would put like their requirements on the website. I mean on the there's this like so-called yellow pages.
Yeah.
And this is a very old school thing. Of like of what agents want when they look at the slush pile. Like what exactly.
Yeah.
And like how much they want in the first email. So once they respond to you and they say, I'm interested in looking through your full manuscript, then you send your full manuscript. And the format matters. And like for example, if they say no PDFs, then please don't send them a PDF. If they say send us a PDF, then you send them a PDF. Like, I mean, I haven't been submitting for a while. I submitted in 2018. But you know what I mean? I mean, you only need that one agent,
absolutely.
Right? Exactly. No, I mean, it's not like every time you want to publish, you get an agent. You have that agent and hopefully that's the agent that represents you for the rest of your career, right? And of course, I have changed agents, but I've only done the submissions process once. So, I mean, things could have changed from 2018 till now. I don't know. But yes. And of course, the other way you do it is like you participate in so-called like Twitter pitches. So sometimes you have Twitter pitch events where like people follow certain hashtags and they just participate in like online pitches on Twitter. Like agents would like their tweet and say, hey, could you send me your your submissions package, your cover letter, and the first 3 chapters or whatever. And then if they're interested, they will ask you for the full manuscript, and hopefully they'll sign you up, and you will get published. Hopefully.
Oh, yeah, that's really useful. Thank you.
Yeah.
How far in are you with your manuscript, man?
I'm at least 3 chapters in, so
Yeah,
But
same here.
okay.
I'm at chapter 5. So I'm ahead of you by a little bit.
Okay, so that's enough to send in a submissions package for some.
Oh, no,
agents.
never. You should finish the manuscript first as
Fuck.
an unproven, so-called unproven author. You need to send in. You need to have a polished manuscript, because the moment they say, "Hey, I like your material, send me the full manuscript," and you're like, "Oh, I'm in the middle of writing the rest of it," they would just like blacklist you.
Wow. So we can't go like, can you give me
No, of course
3
not.
months to
No, of
5
course not.
years to finish this?
Oh, my manuscript is gold. No.
This is the best thing to
Blacklist.
ever read.
Yeah, these first
In
3
caps.
chapters.
No. You should have a complete manuscript that has been hopefully edited, and like, you've tidied it up before
Right.
you
Damn.
go
Okay.
on submissions. Yeah.
How many chapters in are you for your next book?
So I am in the editing process for my 3rd novel, which is also my young adult debut. I am also co-writing a murder mystery rom-com.
Murder mystery rom-com.
Murder mystery rom-com.
Yeah, with a friend, and we're hoping to go on submissions in February.
Nice.
And I'm also working on a paranormal comedic fiction.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk more about it?
I mean, it's about like vampires
Ooh. Uh-huh.
and
Like
and
Stephanie Meyer
That's it.
vampires or Anne Rice vampires?
oh, good question.
Ooh,
But
very
it's
good
also you have
question.
Nosferatu vampires, you know.
Ooh, yeah,
I want
yeah.
to suck your blood.
But yeah, I'm actually thinking of setting it on like Chinese vampires. But okay.
Oh, the little jumping ones with the... Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. Representation matters.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Do you guys...
Yeah.
What's your writing process like? Do you guys write out in a cafe? Do you need noise? Do you need silence? You work with people?
Ooh, I'm a cliche. It's a Starbucks.
J.K. Rowling.
It's a Starbucks.
Must it be
and-
Starbucks?
Not necessarily. It's a coffee place. It's a place with coffee
Yeah.
and good Wi-Fi. And yeah, so I'm not, I'm not fussed about whether it's chaotic or not, as long as I have my corner. I am not a planner. I'm a penser. So I
A
write-
what?
Penser. You write off your
Pencer,
pad,
yeah. You don't outline.
Yeah, I don't
I'm a
outline.
pencil.
Yeah, I don't outline. Well, I mean, eventually I do. So what I do is I'll start with what I call raw material. So
Yeah.
I'll just write sometimes vignettes that are connected, of just
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too.
me
I do
too.
that too.
and then after that I give them some semblance of story and structure. I can't from the start go, okay, chapter 1,
Chapter
ABC is
1.
going to happen. I can't.
How
Oh,
are
I
you?
do that now. So like
Yeah.
I started doing that by the time I started my 3rd novel. I just can't pants. I mean, I kind of pants in the way, like I'm a plantser. I don't know what they call it now. The portmanteau. Like I do a rough outline, sort of like a rough summary of what I think the different acts should be. But my characters always surprise me, because when I write, I'm like, I give them space to surprise me. So sometimes they might just take a completely different path, and then I'll have to redo the summary. I mean, because whenever I pitch a project, I need to write a summary and like give that to the editors. Yeah.
I was way too much of a planner. So I remember that I wrote chapter 1 to chapter 2 in like 2 months. And I said, this is way too much time. So I just decided to fuck it and just like write without even thinking right off the bat. But the planning process of this novel has been like 6 months, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like I think after This Life Electric came out, which was my debut novel, I said, okay, you know what? I'll finish my manuscript end of next year. And it's been like, I think 3 years since then, and I'm still nowhere close, which is annoying. So I told myself that by the end of this year, I'll get an agent.
Right.
So I'm putting that out in the universe.
Yes.
And
Manifesting, that's
manifested.
important.
it'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool actually if we somehow managed, if we have a season 2 of this show, if the 3 of us actually get our novels out, we should
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah. And for 2 of us, an agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you guys think is the most difficult part about being a writer?
All the money and fame.
Just sleeping on all this cash is bad for my back.
I'm not able to go
Okay.
down to NTUC without getting recognized.
You know,
Such a prick.
from a Singaporean context, I mean, I think being based in Singapore as a creative is tough because, like, in
Absolutely.
general, people don't necessarily, and not that I'm looking for recognition or validation. I just find that, like, when you're a creative in Singapore, most of the time people are like, but why? It's almost as though, like, they don't see the utility in being creative. And I find it very shocking because the exercise of being creative is exactly what makes us human.
Preach.
Right? And it makes it, like, if you're just doing your job and just doing the basic in order to, like, survive, in the literal sense that, you know, just to make bank or whatever, and you don't nurture the other side of you that, like, wants to discover, wants to dream, wants to just put something out there that is just not connected to an ROI, right? Then I feel like that's, like, that defeats the purpose of being a human. You might as well be a droid, or, I mean, even AI nowadays, you can make creative stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I actually find that is the challenging thing when I'm in Singapore. It's really hard for me to find people I can vibe with. So I really appreciate, like, meeting all you
Hey,
guys.
Shaile.
But it's true. And that's also part of the reason why I joined stand-up comedy, despite, like, how bad I was at it. Because I really like the community. I like the fact that everyone was just so welcoming.
Yeah.
Well, the audience wasn't necessarily welcoming. But yeah, I like the people who were in stand-up comedy because they understood that, like, this is, like, a joy to be able to express yourself and just, like, don't give a shit about what anyone thinks about what you're saying. Well, most of the time you don't, because, like, most stand-up comics, they just, like, have no filter.
Yeah.
And that's the only way. I mean, yeah, if you're always thinking about how you'll be perceived or whether you're, like, proper, then you will never be a great comic / creative. So and I fully think that for me, that's the challenging part, like, finding my tribe. So I'm very appreciative of
Welcome
all
to
the
the
creatives
tribe.
I meet,
Yeah.
like, in Singapore. I really do, like, whether they're artists or they're, like, playwrights or poets, or they're, I don't know, like, give me another creative job. Come on.
This artist, designer.
I've already said artist.
Singer.
Singer,
Yeah.
interpretive dancer. Okay, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to get
Piano
at.
player. Okay.
Yeah, I think that it always, like, enriches me after I meet people like that, because I find that, like, I feel maybe welcomed in a way. Like, I feel like I meet kindred spirits. I've met kindred spirits, and I feel enriched after I leave the encounter. So yeah.
Yeah, I think to build on top of that, one of the biggest challenges, I guess, is the lack of community. I mean, not the lack of community, but the lack of culture, the lack of creative culture in Singapore.
Yeah.
It is
Creative culture,
prevalent
yes,
in a
it is true.
specific community, yes. So when you find your tribe, you know, you see it's a living, breathing thing. You know, the creative industries in Singapore, the creative scene in Singapore, but it's not to a point where the majority of the population can understand why you're doing what you're doing, where you're coming from. You know?
Yeah.
So that
100%.
I had to fight with my parents to do what I do, you know, because versus, you know, using my education to become a proper media professional and, you know, working like getting a cushy job at MediaCorp, you know, kind of thing, versus like going out of that and writing or creating something in your voice, saying what you want to say. That's, you know, not everybody understands that that's a need. That's
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So for
Yeah.
me, last year I was, okay, I keep saying last year, it's really 2023. 2022 was the year that I decided to do writing full time. But 2021, I was doing this startup with a friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was in February and I was like writing my manuscript. And he said, because he's very, we are right brain, logic is left brain, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I think left brain.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but he's on the other side of the brain. And so he was telling me that, and I remember we were having a drink and he said to me, okay, so when will you like properly start focusing on your career? And I went,
Yeah.
I am though. And he says, no, but you're focusing on your hobby. You shouldn't do that. And I remember that I felt my heart sink because he's a really good friend of mine, but and he meant no
Doesn't
malice,
understand. Yeah.
but he just did not get it. And he said, because you know we have to work, right? Can't you just like write an hour a day? And then I said, no, that's not how it works. And he says, wait, so you really think that writing is what you want? I said, it's not. It's what I need. Like writing is a fucking need.
Yeah.
And I think that some people don't understand that.
Yeah, I
And
think so.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't blame people in Singapore for
I don't-
having that
yeah, absolutely not.
because I mean it's such an expensive city to live in. You kind of have to make pragmatic choices.
Yes.
I do recognize that, but I also think that like the act of creating doesn't need to be like something that takes up your entire day or whatever. I just feel like even small acts of creation should be celebrated, should be encouraged, and should just in general be supported. Like because you know it's not like a binary like, oh, you have to write a novel or you have to work in banking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It can be that like that middle ground, like, oh, you know, I like pottery. I'm going to do it every weekend. I make that commitment to do that. But I am also a successful teacher, you know, that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I just feel like it should be part of a holistic way of living. But that doesn't seem to and the French expression I'm thinking is rentre dans l'esprit. Like it doesn't form part of the culture here to have that holistic way of approaching life.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I think that's a shame because that creation is being human. Creating is being human. Being creative is human.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I was writing Harris Ben Potter, I was a copywriter for an agency.
Yeah.
So because I had to juggle both, right? It was literally what 9 to 6 of work, right? But I would find pockets of time like in the train on the way to work, in the train home,
Yeah.
during lunchtime, where I would just be antisocial, just push my, just go away from everything, open my laptop, write. And I felt more alive in those few minutes than in the office, like, at a meeting or doing anything. So I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
100%.
It's
I feel you.
sustenance.
Yeah, it's sustenance.
It's
Yeah,
a need. Like you
Yeah.
say.
it's a need. Yeah.
I want to quote my homegirl, Jeanette Winterson. So, Jeanette, if you're listening to this, and I'm sure you are, it was a pleasure meeting you. Okay, so basically when I went to her little talk, which was one of the most beautiful experiences, she is nowhere near eloquent, but she speaks poetry. Like the way she talks, it somehow loops it around. And I had a notebook and I was scribbling down everything she said. So there's one thing she said that like, I was like
freaky at
tearing.
all.
I was tearing up like a kid. Okay, so she's talking about basically, I don't know if you know, but her relationship with her mom is pretty messed up. So her mom, she said this. There was one day where Jeanette Winterson woke up and her mom had taken all her favorite books and burnt them like a bonfire.
Oh, no.
And so she said, when my favorite books were burnt, it made me realize that everything outside, no matter how precious they were to me, is out of my control. And anything inside of me, they cannot take from me. And I have my language forever.
Oh, that's so poetic.
It's so poetic, but it's so true. Like I think
Yeah.
people just don't
Love it.
really understand what we're trying to. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'm making a grandstanding statement, but it's quite difficult for people to know how important creativity is, not just for the act of it, for other people to read, but for the act of the person actually creating it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been like my best friend to me.
But yeah, therapeutic. But let's talk about that. Actually, I want to talk about like how not only do people in Singapore maybe like don't appreciate like creatives, but also somehow, and maybe it's not just in Singapore, but it's more largely because this act sustains us, entertains us, makes us happy.
Yep.
They also feel like somehow you don't need to be paid to do this. And so that's something that really upsets me. Like, oh, you know, you're doing this creative work. Let me rip you off. Let me like pirate your books, or let me ask you to do work for me and not pay you for it because it's exposure.
Exposure.
Fuck you and that word.
Stab the next.
Exposure.
Yeah, I mean, and so this to me is a reflection like of just generally the culture here that says like your work is not important, and I think
It sucks.
it should be this. I mean, this is just a general comment, but it should not be that way. Yeah, like we should value creative work from like a young age. Why is it when we're young, when we're like kids, and we make like a crappy like pasta, like drawing or whatever, like we're encouraged for it. We're celebrated for making crap stuff. But when we reach a certain age, we're told to like grow up and drop that. That's so abrupt and so stupid. I feel like
then why hamp up the process, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mom, why
exactly.
would you bring me to piano class and wait, you like piano? You want to do it for where'd this come from?
whatever it is, like like it doesn't just stop one day. We're like,
No.
oh, we're allowed to create when we're kids, but then when we're older, it's stupid. That just boggles my mind.
Yeah.
And so
So when I was younger, I had a really bad stutter. So like I would talk.
Really?
Yeah, I would talk like.
you're so well spoken
Hey,
now.
thanks.
Yeah.
So I would be like, and I got teased at, right? All the kids laugh at me and everything.
So mean.
And so what I did was I wrote. And sometimes to the teacher, I'll write and give it to them. When I felt something, I'll write.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
And then I started to realize, it was like catharsis for me. It wasn't just a way. And then I remember that, yes, you still get teased for handing a note to the teacher because everyone's like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But it was my way of being eloquent.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I think writing for me has always been quite precious. And it kind of feels funny that these days you get, I don't know if you guys experience it much, but I do many live events. And surprisingly, a lot of local brands want you to do it for free.
What?
I
So-
don't
What?
know that.
Okay. So basically, I've been lucky with brands for it. Okay, I want to shout out to some brands. Our Second Nature, amazing, right?
Mm.
Like some really good local brands, they respect your craft.
Yes.
There
they
are
should.
some local brands that literally, I remember that they told me they wanted to have me on board for their launch. And I said, oh yeah, I'd love to do it. Here's my quote. And then the woman looked at me and it like, you could see the smile slip from her face. It's kind of like she realized that we were not having the same conversation. And she suddenly went, oh, okay. I would like you to know, I don't know if you know what we do or who we are. I'm like, no, you guys are established in Singapore. I know who you are. She's like, yeah. We can give you a lot of publicity. And I want you to properly think about this and tell me what price you're willing to give me.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
exactly.
Yeah, it's
I
alright.
don't want to mention them, but it was
It's so weird.
infuriating.
They didn't even go into negotiation. They
No.
went straight into
Yeah.
the publicity we could get you.
Yeah, oh my God.
Exposure doesn't feed us literally. So no, thank you. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of mindset that I feel is emblematic of society in some place.
I want to share
including
something,
Singapore.
but I feel like I can only share it with you guys because you guys are writers as well.
And everyone listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
Okay, so I remember that during COVID time 2 years ago, I was suddenly angry that I was just a writer, and it felt really messed up because I never wanted to say just before
Yes.
anything I
super
want.
interesting.
Yeah, just never say just. But I was looking at all these like my friends who were designers getting paid to create NFTs, getting paid to do all these things, and I almost felt angry that I didn't have an additional skill set, which made me kind of upset at myself because writing has been there for me through so much of my life. And now it's almost like you're married to an amazing woman and suddenly, oh wait, this girl's getting a lot of attention. Oh, I suddenly want to have something with her. But no, that shouldn't be the case. You're loyal to what was loyal to you. And I don't know if you guys felt this during the whole COVID time where illustrators were getting so much money. All of a sudden, they were celebrated, which I'm happy for them, of course. But suddenly, it felt like, I think one person said to me, okay, as a joke, he said, "Hey, do you think poetry is kind of just glorified copywriting?" That I went, "You motherfucker."
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Okay, no, he meant as a joke. He
Yeah,
meant as a
okay.
joke.
That's
But-
what
but
that's
it
what I was
stung.
to say. Yeah.
It
I can
stung
imagine.
so
Holy
bad.
Shit. Uh-huh.
So yeah, I think that's the whole thing about. I don't know if you guys felt that at any point in your life with what you do.
I mean, speaking as a woman,
Shit, that was therapy.
Yeah.
a woman of color in the international English publishing scene, I think there is this always this part of me that feels like I have to like work harder to get opportunities, etc. And like, and this is true because like in the industry, it's like I don't know how much. What the percentage is, but it's like 90% white, and I mean international publishing. Yeah, we're talking about. So I feel like sometimes you ask yourself, if I have to work so hard to get the same opportunities, then what am I doing this for? But I think it goes back to the original thought, which is like we're doing this because it makes us happy.
Yeah.
And so that kind of does guide me in all my decisions and whatever I do. As I said, I'm lucky to be in a position, privileged to be in a position that I'm in right now, that I'm able to do certain things that other people can't. But I mean, I'm just speaking for myself. I think that
Sure.
that's how I view the situation. Like, I'm generally happy to be a writer, and even if I have to struggle to get certain opportunities, I'm still happy that I'm a writer.
Preach.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for another thing because it's so much. It's such a big part of me and how I identify that I would never trade it for another skill set. Like, even if that pays me more, because let's face it, I didn't enter this industry to be like paid bajillions, you know. I mean, I would love to. I would love to. And I am getting opportunities. I'm not discounting that. But I mean, it's not the primary driver of why I write.
Because I remember that on your website, and it made me laugh actually. You said that your mom still wishes you went to mid school. And I
It
think
is
that's
actually true.
It's so infinitely relatable to me. Do you still feel that way?
No, I'm just joking because my mom and my parents in general are actually pretty supportive of me in terms of like my writing career. They always recognized that I was a writer, and they could see that I had talent because I was entering competitions as a teenager and I got like prizes and stuff.
Yeah.
And so they told me like, if you ever want to write, like obviously make sure you find a way to feed yourself, but never forget that you are also a writer. So I'm very grateful to my parents, despite certain things I don't agree with them about, but whatever. But in general, I'm very grateful that they supported my creative endeavors.
And you, what's your relationship with writing, Suffian?
Well, everything I do is around writing. So even in
Same.
my career, whether it was as a copywriter,
In August month, right?
now I'm
Yeah.
an August man, as a senior writer. Before this I was a script writer as well for a production company. So
And you wrote something too. Make Hunters Great Again.
the play, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
congrats,
God.
brother.
Thank you. Oh my
Congrats.
god, we
So
sold out all best.
No,
one of the best experiences.
I really wanted to go, but I was overseas at the time. But the next one you do.
We only had a 3-day run.
3-day run.
anyway.
Yeah, I
the next,
remember
the next
that.
one you do, I'll
I check
definitely
it
be
out.
there.
Please do, yeah. That was such an amazing experience. So I mean, writing has always been wonderful. I've been exploring different mediums, different styles, different genres. But yeah, I have been through what you went through. Like, I mean, you've pursued something to be definitive of who you are,
Yeah.
and then when you finally reach that, and then it feels like because of it, your life experience will be limited. You won't get to experience what it feels like to be a doctor, or you won't
thank
get
you.
you won't get to practice your personality or abilities in other fields because this is the one that you've chosen, right?
Yeah.
So I had that for a while, and it was a weird existentialist crisis for me. Like, oh my god, is this all I can bring to the world? But yeah, you're right. You're loyal to who's loyal to you, and you eventually you figure. I at least learned that that writing is never just about writing.
Mm-hmm.
The stories you're telling, the messages you're communicating, that can vary, and that can bring as much benefit to somebody else as it does to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very aware that we are at the end here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just have one last question to ask you guys. If you guys want to ask anything else, please let me know. But my question is, which of the works that you've done are you most proud of, and why? Whether it's the most personal or the most impactful or the most successful, which one was it for you?
For me, it was a short story I submitted that was published on Esquire magazine.
I love Esquire.
Yeah, it's closed down already. So yeah,
what?
in Singapore at least.
No, it's not.
Yeah, they're releasing their last issue soon.
Oh my god! I just met
so
the
sad.
chief editor. She's
Yeah,
so nice.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah,
Oh my
I
god!
know. So
Oh, it's a beautiful magazine. That's a shame.
right, this is exactly what young 20s me thought of FHM as well. But yeah, that went to shit. Okay, so it was a short story I submitted to them. It was published 2 years ago in 2021. It's called Siapa Bapak Kau / Who's Your Daddy? Because Siapa Bapak Kau is Who's Your Daddy in Malay.
Oh, I think we were in the same edition.
Oh, really?
It was the one where you had to write?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read your story.
Oh,
it was
okay.
good.
Yeah. Oh,
What?
Okay.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh my god, we crossed paths before we actually crossed paths.
You guys
Then
first met at the Singapore Writers Festival this time, right?
our words met before we met.
I love that.
I love it. I love it.
that.
So poetic.
Yeah, and it was a diptych. So there was every page of the story had a line cutting the page in half. On one side, it's the story of Who's Your Daddy, and on the other side, it's Siapa Bapak Kau. So Who's Your Daddy is a Malay girl meeting an Angmoh man and like having the best date of her life. Okay, and the other side is Malay girl meeting slightly poor Malay boy, and she's just having the worst date of her life.
Right.
And it just runs in parallels, like
Oh, that's interesting.
So when Angmoh man takes her to a rooftop bar,
Yeah.
Malay man takes her to McDonald's.
Right.
When he's ordering like an old fashioned premium wines, the other guy's ordering like
Bandung.
I love bandung.
I love Bandung too.
Yeah, and then like when she says talk dirty to me to both of them, one goes Who's Your Daddy and the other goes Siapa Bapak Kau.
Oh, I love that.
And
That's
then-
so cool.
To Who's Your Daddy, like she orgasms, but to Siapa Bapak Kau she goes I never knew him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my
so-
god. Hey, dude, that's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was comedic up to a point when it became a bit sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so why was that your
because I mean, like I said, so when I first started writing, it was always just to explore the disconnect between pop culture, how I grew up,
Yeah.
right? So that story was the intersection. So initially I started with humor only because, like I said, I didn't have the sophistication of language or thought to explore these issues in a deeper way. But this felt like
You're eloquent as fuck.
now, but in my 20s,
Right, okay.
yeah, we wouldn't be friends because I'd be like, "What's your?" and you'd be like, and then so that story was the intersection of these two things. It was me finally coming to my own as a writer, and the things I was thinking about and exploring when I was growing up.
Oh, I love that. I kind of want to share mine before we go to Lauren. So for mine, it was my novel, This Life Electric. I wrote in the foreword that this is not a book. This is the longest poem I've ever written.
Mm-hmm.
So for the longest time, okay, not to go too much into my past and everything, but I've always felt a little bit distant from my dad because he's like some of my friends where they're very business, like, hey bro, we should hustle, bro.
Yeah.
Like the mindset where what you should do, bro, for Novel Encounter, you should have a team of poets and then you scale. It's like that kind of thing.
Right.
So I always felt that even though I know we loved each other, my dad never understood me, right? But my whole family, aside from my older sister, who basically she likes to think she's my pseudo editor because she reads all my work, and she's an amazing writer, by the way. My dad read it, and I was like, this dude doesn't read. Like he only reads like Sherlock Holmes, 武侠小说 kind of thing. And when he read it, I think like the next day he looked at me and he never said it to me, but I said to my mom, he's like, I never knew my son thought that much. And he said that I feel like I read a bit of his soul.
Wow, that's so deep.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I remember that. And that's all I wanted as a kid, for my dad to see me. And I was like,
seen.
that's why I write. Like it, from the guy who wrote like little notes, like this was what I was trying to do. And I think that's why I'll keep writing. So that to me is the most important book.
What's your? I mean, does your dad? I mean, what's it like now with your dad? Like,
I mean, it's okay. I mean, obviously he's still like, he still tell me, he's like, oh, so you know, have you been looking at the stocks recently? I'm like, yeah, Tesla, dad, is in the tank. Oh my God, Apple, man, you know what I mean? But and funnily enough, the only times that we actually talk are about movies.
Yeah.
Like when we say, hey, dad, do you know that in the most recent James Bond movie, spoiler, this happens, and he's like, oh my God, why? And I'm like, yeah, right. And then so that's the only time we talk is about movies, because he likes movies a lot too.
Right.
Movies, stock options, hedging, the hedges or whatever. And so it felt that the closest time I ever felt to him was when he read my book, and that means a lot to me. Yeah, so that's why it's important to me.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Your turn, Lauren. Bring us home.
You guys have such deep stories. Well, I don't have like one particular work that I'm most proud of. But I will say that I'm really looking forward to having my third novel published in the world, because it's a young adult novel. It's set in Malaysia. It's about two international kids that basically find themselves in stand-up comedy and then find each other despite like supposedly not liking each other. And it's just like the kind of story I wanted to read when I was a teenager, and I never saw on the shelves, because like Southeast Asian writers were far and few, and when they were published, they were often like historical or like literary genre, like very literary authors talking about sad things that happened in the past. Often, I'm not saying that were all the case. All the cases were like that, but so this is a contemporary novel. It's for young adults, i.e., teenagers or youngish adults, and it's the novel that I would have liked to see on shelves when I was young. So,
I love that.
So for me, this is like a big moment, and it's also set in Malaysia, and it will be published by Disney. So, like, I'm really excited for the book. And you know, it's funny. It's also about stand-up comedy, so it's like funny in itself. And I'm really proud of some of the jokes that I wrote in there.
As long as you don't have to say it.
As long as I don't have to deliver the actual jokes, I'm good. So I'm really excited about that. I mean, I also have other more personal pieces of writing that I have published before that I'm proud of. But, you know, like I can never choose my favorite child. I just think like, you know, they all have their good points. But yeah, this is the thing that I'm looking forward to anyway. Like, yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so before I end, where can people find you? What you guys have going on in your life, and like any updates you guys can give us?
Well, I just gave you the update.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can find me at hellolaurenho. And I'm on like all the platforms. I'm not really active on TikTok. I'm a lurker on TikTok. But I'm on Instagram. That's my most active platform.
Same here. So it's just Suffian Hakim at Suffian Hakim. Yeah, I'm not a 12-year-old girl, so I'm not on TikTok. Because who else would be? I mean,
Gen Z is not 12 years old.
I'm Gen Z. Yeah, exactly. I'm not Gen Z.
Gen Z is like, 20s, young 20s.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't get videos where you're just acting out different characters.
You don't tick the talk, brother?
I don't tick the talk. I don't talk the tick. So yeah, and yeah, I give my updates as well. But also if you want to find more of my writing, you can go to augustman.com and their social media platforms. And yeah, I write about mostly culture and arts, which is one of my favorite things. So
awesome. I really wanted the both of you here on this podcast. So I know this took a long time to do.
no, I'm glad. I'm glad
yeah,
to be
but
here.
this was like a lot of fun, and it's just fun to be here with two writers. So thanks so much for coming here, guys.
Things
No,
very
thank
mutual.
you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us.
Yeah.
Cheers.
One fell drink.